as I just need to get myself sorted out and ready to go ahead of the round number 5 of the Sprint Championship. Should be all good to go very, very soon. We've got a good number of drivers on the grid, not quite the full grid as we had, I believe, last week. However, 16 drivers, it definitely is not a bad shout by any stretch of the imagination. The stream is still sorted. I certainly can't wait. I always love the sprints. Gives me something to cheer up. Cheer me up after the absolute nightmare that was today's Russian Grand Prix. I swear to God, if this comment is Moosey or Mark saying that you're awake, yeah, fuck's sake. Sorry. Apologies, my language. It's really sad. I knew it would be, but yeah, that's not the. Wait, you used the wrong yaw, Moosey. Oh, fuck me. And again, I'm sorry. I thought you put the other yaw. I didn't read it right. That's my problem. Ah, you did correct it. No. I knew I saw it correctly. However, we are readying up now. So in just a moment I will get going. In fact, I will do now. Hello and welcome, ladies and gentlemen, back to the APPF1 Sunday Night Sprint Championship. It's round number 5 today, and we enter the penultimate round of the first 2021 season. Heading into today are 2 key races for Ghost on his bid to secure the only double sprint championship ever. His speed in the sprint races have proved vital in opening his lead over MX to now 18 points. First off today, we head to Azerbaijan and to the Baku city circuit, a tough, tight and twisty racetrack with a vast 2-kilometre straight that will hopefully promote some great racing. Then after that, we turn the grid on its head and venture to Le Castellet for the French Grand Prix. In the sim racing world, France can be the producer of some fantastic racing, and I hope we see more of the same today. I'm your very much awake commentator, Zach Sweeney, here to talk you through all the action for the Sprint Championship, with one-shot quali underway very shortly. Buckle up as the Sprint Championship returns for round number 5. Scott is missing his date for the sprints on a Sunday night. That's the reason he looks forward to it. He can't race, so he comes and hangs out with Mark in the chat, and that is you know, it's a pleasure to have. It's cute to see. It's very wholesome content with the Scott and Mark bromance, or actual romance, whatever floats your boat. It is usually water, but you know, either way. It seems to be clear skies and sunshine for the Azerbaijan Grand Prix as we head for the one-shot quali. We're right on board with our championship leader, that is GG Ghost, in the Aston Martin. He has proven an absolute mighty force over the course of the season. Looking in towards turn 1, braking just before the start of that curve, down to 3rd gear. Bit of a lock-up for Ghost. That was very tentative through, and you saw that he definitely has a lot to lose in these races. He's going to be taking it very calm and collected for the final 4 races. He's got an 18-point lead, and that can come down straight away if he's not careful, then has 1 DNF. Currently, at the moment, P10, just behind his teammate, in towards turn number 3, looking for that 100 board. Down the gears as quick as you can. 2nd gear, just chuck the car in and be as committed as you possibly can. KTFO at the moment is at provisional pole. I believe he is the debutee, as I definitely haven't seen him on the grid for the Sprint Championship. In towards this tight and twisty chicane, looking for that 100 board again, chucking it through to the right-hander. Do not want to get on that curb, as the car will take off and you will lose a lot of downforce. In towards the corner just before the castle section, you want to chuck it through, clip that curb as much as you can without getting your lap time invalidated. In towards castle, 3rd gear, clip that inside curb, and again just straight line it as much as you can through turn 12. This little uphill left-hander, again be very careful when it comes to getting that power down through turn 13 and soon to be 14. Two flat out left-handers before you come to 15, which is a very tricky downhill left-hander. You want to just get as close to that the wall on the right hand side as you can, braking completely in a straight line, careful of that curve on the inside. Turn 16, the last braking zone of the track. Third gear, fourth gear, use the track on the exit and just shorten this run as much as you can. It looks as though Harry Bix on his debut in the Mercedes is going to lead Koru and Ghost ahead of a Aston Martin 3-4 for the second row. Looking to be a very, very good qualifying for them indeed. The two Alpines, though, very struggling on their bid for the Constructors' title. On the run to the line, it's Ghost. Very, very short run indeed, and it is Harry Bix that takes pole position ahead of Koru and Ghost. And Vardy, your top four, with Rick P5, a great result for him. Aces P6 in the Williams Alpine, one of the two. Always get them mixed up when it comes to sprint because he's in the Williams for one and the Alpine for the other. I believe it is the Alpine. No, it is the Williams. I got it right. It's Harry Bix on pole position. They were 139.328, just under 2 tenths clear of Koru in the other Williams. He'll join him on the front row. The Aston Martins of Ghost and Vardy 3 and 4, with Rick rounding off the top 5. Aces versus Kings in P6 with MX P7, 4 places behind his main championship rival. Vardy, though, on the medium tyre. That's going to be something to look out for. Sumo P8 with Blair P9. Gilbert rounds off the top 10 with Tier P11 and Jack Alacco P12. Max P13 with Davila and Paus P14 and 15. KTFO was leading the way for a good portion of that lap, however fell short and as only P16 with no time set, and Paus as well had to well, invalidated his lap time, and Davila as well made a massive mistake, 10 seconds back on the pole lap time. And I do have to apologise for any background noise as always. So no formation lap then for this race. It's straight to the 5 red lights and a very short run towards turn 1. The very tight left-hander that is turn 1. And you can definitely have a little look up the inside. And the start always going to be very crucial. We look to the 2021 Azerbaijan Grand Prix where Lewis just went straight on at T1 off the red flag restart. Hopefully nothing like that happens again. We go to 5 red lights then. It's the Mercedes on pole, Williams alongside, and it's underway for round number 5. Harry Bix gets a good start from pole position. The two Aston Martins also get away well. It's Vardy looking on the inside of Ghost in towards turn 1. They're 3 abreast. Rig making a bit of contact to the rear end of Vardy nearly. There's a Red Bull off. That's going to be Gilbert having a very poor start, but it's still Harry Bix that leads from Koru, Ghost, Vardy staying as they are. The top 5 in fact staying as they are. MX up into P6 as they all now going to be slipstreaming their way down towards turn number 3. At the moment though, no one seems to be close enough to actually launch any realistic attack in towards turn 3, so it's going to stay as it is. Harry Bix, very comfortable lead, got the lead off the start through turn 1 very comfortably, as well as Koru, Ghost and Vardy, all just managing to filter their way through and do their own thing. Did not want to take any rash judgments off the start. Paus managing to get 1 place on his teammate off the start as well. They're down in 14th and 15th, and they need to be scoring some good points in their bid for the title, for their second Constructors title. Ghost obviously on that hunt for his second sprint championship title. He first won it back in season 1 and then took a sabbatical from the championship for seasons 2 and part of season 3, but he's back now, and in season 4 he's back in winning force and very much dominating the championship as it stands. 18 points, 18 positions clear of MX, so even a retirement and a win for MX today would not see him lead the standings. Which just goes to show how quick Ghost has been at the moment. Still no one able to launch an attack, but we get this long 2-kilometer straight that leads us towards turn number 1 once more. Corey is going to have the slipstream, no DRS in effect just yet. We're going to have to wait until lap 3 for that to happen as we round off lap 1. In fact, MX has gone off. It's turn, well, one of the turns. It's turn 16. He's gone off. He's gone for a spin, and he's in the barrier. In fact, no, it's a lot later on. Maybe using a little bit of ERS too early. Vardy getting past his teammate down the main straight and in towards turn 1. They're going for a bit of a switcheroo. Vardy now leads the two Aston Martins. And on those medium tyres, MX though, that's not going to be helping his championship bid, and Ghost is going to be gaining 12 more points. Rick on the back of Ghost though, so Ghost seems to be struggling in this race. He's really going backwards. Rick is going to look and try and take this opportunity. He's in the slipstream, sorry. No DRS until lap 3, but he will be in the DRS range on the next lap and be benefiting from that down in towards turn number 3. But he's able now just to keep that pressure on. Vardy will be aiding Ghost with that slipstream, but also disadvantaging him with that dirty air. Corey still giving Harry a good run for his money, only 7/10 back, and both of them just sort of matching each other's pace. Ghost going very deep in towards turn number 7 though. That's really going to hinder his run. Luckily for him, Rick can't mount a challenge in towards the corner just before the infamous castle section. Blair, the American, on the back of Aces in the Williams. He made a bit of a mistake, very Hulkenberg-esque if you look back to 2017, and oh my god, that was a huge collision with the wall for Blair. Luckily, I think he's managed to get away from that scot-free and not sustain any damage. Sumo in P8, taking 2 weeks in a row with, 2 weeks in a row all on the podium. That's 4 races, consecutive podiums. He doesn't look to be in contention for a podium just yet. He's down in P8, and as Rick practically pushing Ghost through turn 16, he's under an insane amount of pressure for the top 4. Rick, a tier 2 driver, going up against some of the best in APPF1, and Ghost definitely is one. Look at that, looking to the left-hand side. Ghost not able to defend. Jackalacco becomes the first retirement of the session. There's no full course yellow. Side by side, there is a full course yellow. It's a VSC, and into the pit lane comes Koru. That could not have been perfectly, couldn't have been more perfectly timed as Davila joins him as well. There's a huge crash on the main straight. We're going to ride on board with Gilbert to see if we can catch the tail end of it. Davila joining him, and that's the first DNF for Alpine in quite a while. That's going to trigger a lot of pit stops under this VSC, because everyone's going to be going a lot slower. They're going to strap on either the mediums or the hards, and in fact it's a full course safety car that's going to be coming out. So this is perfect timing for those to come into the pit lane, basically a free stop, and those that stayed out are really going to struggle now in order to not lose any track position. Koru could be in the net race lead as it stands. He's on the medium tyre. KTFO comes in, doesn't risk it, he's on the hards. As it stands, could be a net P3 potentially. As they all overtake the safety car as it is waiting for the leader. That was the Alpine of Paus, getting quite confused and doesn't really know what to do. Birdmailander are now pulling over to the right, to the left-hand side, just to let them all through and wait for the leader. They're going to have to adhere to a 40% race speed delta. So Davila and Jackalacco's crash could play well into the hands of Paus. And if the guys in front do lose a lot of time from pitting, they could find themselves behind the likes of Sumo. In fact, Sumo could be very, very close, even into the top 5, and that will be a very good chance for him to mount a challenge. Lap 3 of 13, around about a fourth of the way through this race. And it is Harry Bix that leads. Vardy and Ghost round off the podium with Rick and Blair 4th and 5th. Koru pitted on the lap just before the VSC, or as the VSC was deployed, and then it turned to a full course safety car, which could benefit Koru in some ways. Is Harry Bix going to chance it and come into the pit lane? Well, surely he has to come in. It's a free pit stop in a 25% race. You have to take it. In he comes then, chucking it through, taking no risks at all with the entry. Vardy also, they're going to have to double stack here at Aston Martin. What tyres is Ghost and Vardy both going to go to? Vardy, of course, on those mediums, hasn't got much in the way of an option. As Harry Bix pulls his way out, he might not even lose the position. It could be his lucky day. Ghost, though, is going to lose quite a lot of time as his teammate pulls out on the soft compound tyre, confident he can take those to the end. And Ghost, having to strap on the mediums, and he's going to find himself a lot further down the order than he would have liked. Coming out of the pit lane, though, Vardy has managed to get the jump on Koru in the pit lane. Sumo up into P4, drag race with Rick to the second corner, and Sumo's managed to get himself into P4. So a lot of overtakes in a time where you're not able to overtake. But Vardy really making the most of this safety car period up into P2, and on the softs, the only question that lingers is, can he get to the end on those tyres? It's going to be a struggle. As Paus is coming in for the second lap in a row. He's going for the mediums. Maybe originally went for the hard and is going to chance it now, and is correct in thinking that the mediums will get to the end. With the softs in P2, could they get to the end? They're the only Vardy, the only driver to go for the softs. He's going to chance it. He will be the quickest man on track in the Aston Martin, and has been up there since his return to the community after the end of Season 3 in the Sprint Championship. In fact, he didn't race in Season 3 in the Sprint Championship, if I do... no, he did. He was the championship protagonist. He was second to Scott. Only ever finished second has Vardy. Never won the Sprint Championship, which I think, as I always will say, I think is definitely criminal. That he has been unable to so far. I think he very much deserves it. His pace in the sprint races, in the reverse grid, he just darts through the field and absolutely dominates. He slices through the field as if it's a knife through hot butter. Just absolutely chucking it through. And no hesitation, goes for the moves, puts it up the inside, correct strategy decisions as well. Of course, has won the Tier 1 Championship, which I believe is headed by MX at the moment on the Friday. So hopefully safety car won't be out for any more longer than another lap, and we'll get getting going at the end of lap 5 on to lap 6. And I am deeply offended at what Taylor has just said. I cannot lie. That has really struck me to the core. He stabbed the knife in it and has twisted it, and I am deeply pained to hear that. And that is what he thinks of me. You see, teenagers actually need the most sleep of any human being. They need at least 12 hours, and we do not get that. We can't get that. It's not feasibly possible to get that. Unfortunately, Taylor does not seem to understand that, and yeah, being horrible. As always, but he knows deep down that I am his hero, and that is absolutely fine. Harry Bricks. Then you can see weaving left and right, knows the safety car will probably most likely be in this lap, and with MX now trailing the back of the queue, will join in P14. Don't know why he's going very slowly. He could catch back up, but he's got until the Sector 3 timing line to do so. Harry Bricks will lead them round. He'll be joined by Vardy, but the interesting thing is, how long will Harry Bricks leave it in his run to the line, because he doesn't want to dart too early, because Vardy will get an insane slipstream down towards turn 1. No overtaking, of course, until the timing line, but going to give him an incredible run. So he wants to leave it as late as possible, but also not too late that Vardy can stick it up the inside after being very close to him. Baku, probably one of the hardest circuits to manage a safety car restart, probably second to or just ahead of Spain and places like that, where you have got a long run, maybe even Russia. There's been a couple of penalties, Max, Tier and Gilbert all being given one. Gilbert without a front wing going into the back of the Haas, that has given him a 5-second penalty, and Max as well could be suffering even more damage after that crash, just into the wall off the safety car, under the safety car. No damage sustained to the front wing, which is bizarre to say the least. I'm very, very surprised that Max is still even going in this race. He should have definitely buried himself in that wall, and that is extremely embarrassing that we caught that on stream for him, but still driving pretty well in P9 despite that 5-second penalty. However, safety car should be in this lap, and we will get confirmation from race control as we cross through. As you can see, safety car is going to be in this lap. So Harry Biggs in the Mercedes. We've gotten quite used to seeing a Mercedes lead the way in real life Formula 1, and Harry Biggs on his debut is doing a very good job of that indeed. You can see weaving around left and right, getting some temperature into those tyres, ready to punch it as soon as that safety car light turns off. And then he's got full jurisdiction between now and the timing line to punch it. Vardy, you can see, weaving around, copying his movements and just waiting, sat in a straight line, waiting for him to punch it so he can react. Does not want to leave it too late. And of course does not want to be under pressure from Corey behind, who's also going to be looking to make some moves. You can see that Mercedes weaving around left, right, trying to get some temperature into those medium tyres and just back everyone up so he's unpressured in towards turn 1. Just look at how many cars there are. He's punched it. We're back on the green flag racing, and a great restart from Corey. He's going to be side by side with Vardy off the line and in towards turn 1. He's going to be on the left hand side. He's going to be on disadvantaged tyres. That's also Rick and Blair going side by side. Lap 6 of 13, and down the inside goes Corey in towards turn 1. Vardy absolutely mugged off the restart. Sumo also looking to get involved in the action, looking to the the left-hand side. In fact, just going to cover off a move from those behind. Rick going in deep in towards turn 3. It's Harry that leads 8 tenths ahead of Koru and Vardy. P3 is sort of just sorted itself out from the previous, before the safety car. We now go in towards turn number 3. Sumo trying to get himself back onto the podium. He's brought himself right into contention here for a 5th podium in a row after some pretty poor form and some bad luck for a man who is incredibly quick when he wants to be. He's now found his string of form, his confidence, his mentality, and he can now find himself on a podium for the 5th time in a row. Harry Biggs, incredibly quick pace off this restart. 1 second clear of Koru and already out of that crucial 1 second range. That is the virtual toe hook. That's DRS, especially at a track like Baku. It will leave him vulnerable as well to the Aston Martin of Vardy behind. Look at how committed he is through turn 12, hitting all the apexes. You couldn't put a 50p coin on the apex and expect him to miss it. Through turn 14 and dip down the hill towards 15. Very tricky braking zone, but it's just crucial that Vardy gets as close as he can and utilises that soft tyre grip. This is Aces also on the back of Ghost in towards turn 15. Can't quite mount a challenge. 1.2 seconds is that gap at the front after not even a lap under green flag racing. Harry is absolutely flying, but you can see Koru chipping away at that gap, trying to get himself within that 1 second range, and also Vardy activating the battery, using that extra 160 brake horsepower from the MD UK, blitzing it down this pit straight, tucked up nicely in excess of nearly 200 miles an hour. He's closing, but it's not quite going to be closing enough. This is also Aces to the left-hand side. It's not the first time we've seen a Williams on the left-hand side of an Aston Martin in towards turn 1. This is the fight for P7. Aces down the inside, but there goes Ghost around the outside, keeps him pinned. They're still going to be side by side towards turn number 2. Is Ghost going to back out? He's going to try and keep him pinned, but no. Aces claims the corner, stays ahead, and he's going to be slipstreamed down towards turn number 3, but instead, no, he's not, because Ghost has had an absolute nightmare of an exit, now having to defend from Tyr, the Haas behind in towards turn 3. Is he late enough under brakes? Tyr has a look to go around the outside, but Ghost does not flinch. His experience teaches him well enough to not have to give the space there and just claim the corner and spread or open up the steering to get to the end of the track. And Tyr going way too late under brakes there, locking the rears, having to go to the edge of the track, cutting the course. And the Alpine of, I believe, Paus getting really caught up there. MX now looking to the left hand side, doesn't manage to launch an attack and trying to get himself into the top 10. Paus, though, very much caught out, and that could have been absolutely disastrous. Back to the fight at the front. Harry Biggs still leads Koru and Vardy in P3. All three of which pretty much even on pace. Harry Biggs at the moment still controlling the way. On the 3rd lap of the safety car restart, we will have the benefit of DRS, and that will be coming on to lap number 8. And you will have the DRS towards turn 3. No one will probably want to use it too much, though. Aces making moves. It's always in the second half of the race we see Aces shine. Max has gone for a spin off the exit of turn 7. You can see on the mini-map there. But here is Aces. We're going to have to go back to the front as well, because you can see Koru having to weave around, try and get a little bit of a slipstream from the car in front as he can, and closing at a rate of knots in towards turn 1. Is Vardy going to be able to go for it? He's closing 200 miles an hour. DRS now enabled. You can see the Aston Martin look into the left-hand side. Rick as well on Suma, but Aces pretty much side by side with Blair, in towards turn 1. The Haas late under brakes, swoops around the outside. Aces have absolutely nothing to say about that one, as Max is out of the session with a DNF and will be starting at the back of the grid for the next race in France. DRS open for the Williams. He comes down this back straight. Blair looking in his mirrors, going semi-defensive. The Williams pulling to the right-hand side, has committed to the long way round, gets ahead before the corner and into the top 6. Very nicely done from the Williams. He was patient, he's calm, he's collected, and he's into the top 6 now as well. The fight for the win. A 3-car train, Harry, Koru and Vardy, all within DRS range of each other. It's going to be a very spicy run indeed, these final 5.5 laps for round number 5 of the Sprint Championship. And also don't forget, we have got the reverse grid race not long after through the castle section for the 8th time. Just got to negotiate it as best you can. Clip the apexes, not hit the wall is always preferable. Koru now 5 tenths behind. How much ERS has he gone through though? Quite a lot, but still enough to launch a reasonable attack. Harry and Vardy both keeping themselves collected. Bit deep in towards turn 15 goes the Williams. That's not going to give him the best exit, but all that matters is this run out of turn 16. He needs to be careful on the traction, needs to get a good run. That is absolutely perfect. 6 tenths is a gap, and that gap is going to be closing relatively quickly as they go through the S's of turn 18, 19 and 20. You can see already closing, already using that energy recovery system system before the DRS is even going to open. Harry Bix under pressure for the first time this race. You can see 204, 205. This is the move for the race lead. Harry defends, but Corey pulls to the right hand side. He's going to be the long way around for turn 1, but has he got it done? No, the Mercedes goes in deep at the inside through turn 1. He's forced him wide, but Corey does not back out. He goes around the outside and towards turn number 2. Who's ahead? It's the Mercedes, very brave under brakes, and Corey has to back out. Now Vardy wants a slice of the cake. He's going to have the DRS in towards turn number 3. He's using every little bit of ERS he's got. Corey now going from attack to defence. Here comes the Aston Martin. It's going to be the long way round for turn number 3. He's late under brakes. Corey's even later, nearly into the side of the Mercedes, nearly into the wall. Corey defends absolutely brilliantly, and still Harry leads from Corey and Vardy, your top 3. An incredible bit of racing as we now cut to the fight for P5, because Ace is still managing to get onto this fight for P4. Miraculously, he is so quick compared to the rest of the field. He's just blitzed past a lot of people, even with the battling. He's now putting that pressure on the Dutchman, that is Rick. Which you probably couldn't tell where Rick is from with the amount of languages he speaks. Sumo seems to be struggling though up in front in P4, trying his best to hang on from Rick behind. Really pushing the limits of that AlphaTauri. It might not be a podium unless something happens in front, which by the looks of things might happen. They're being extremely feisty. Harry and Corey both very late on the brakes. Their left foot definitely going to be cramping up if they are on a wheel, as they in fact go through towards the DRS section. We might see another change for the race lead. Lap 9 of 13. It will soon turn 10, and the lap counter ticking down slowly but surely. 4 laps of the first race today left to go. The Mercedes under pressure from the Williams. Very quick in a straight line. Not using his ERS just yet. Does not want to waste it, but you can see Harry Bix already having to commit to defending, weaving around, trying to break that slipstream, that hole in the air that he is punching. Going defensive. Corey now back to the right hand side. Is the Mercedes going to be able to launch it back up the inside? Indeed he is. Very brave. Second gear, but once again the Williams goes all the way around the outside, and there's contact, and Corey is out of the session. Harry is out with no front wing, and a full course safety car is in effect, and the Mercedes has gone straight on at turn 2 into the barrier without a front wing, and Rick inherits P2, Sumo inherits P3, and another safety car is out in this race, and that was a huge accident waiting to happen. KTFO takes this opportunity to peel his way into the pit lane, and that is definitely going to have to take a look from the stewards. That was a monumental accident. Huge crash. Harry without a front wing and could be struggling to make it back to the pit lane. As it stands, you can see having to bail off at turn number 4 and reverse back onto the track, having to lose a ton of positions, and he'll lose even more, and he's not got a lot of time either to get it back, because it's only probably going to be 1 or 2 laps after the safety car for us until the checkered flag, our second safety car in this race. I need to have a look at why my phone isn't working. I do not want to blue screen you while I read the comments. I want to have a proper look as well. But under safety car for the second time, Vardy leads, then inherits the race lead, and that's what you get for keeping it clean. We'll have a little look at how things is happening. Granite Bonkers is here. Palps got hit by the safety car. That's why he had to pit for a second time under the first safety car. Just had a look. Looks like Dave lost it onto the final corner. I'm assuming he collected Jacko. That is a huge shame. Question is anyone of the top lot going to pit? Of course, Harry almost has to. RFF, go on Harry. Yes, he is indeed. Tilly Jones in the chat. I'm guessing he is a big supporter. So too is Guided Survivor. We've got a lot of Harry fans. Taylor Hammers, though, very much passionate and very much assertive that it is Harry's fault. I mean, in towards turn 1, Corey did have the line, was slightly off track, you could argue. And the Mercedes, very rightly so, maybe opened up the steering in order to claim the corner, which fair enough, I do suppose. It was late under brakes. For me, given the fact that both of their races were ruined, I mean, it shouldn't come down to the consequences of the situation. But if it was Corey's fault, he DNF'd. If it was Harry's fault, he's in the pit lane with no front wing. So I'd say it's a racing incident personally. Of course, the stewards and everyone else are entitled to their own opinion. That is just what I say, and you should never ever trust what a commentator says. But I would say that is a reasonable way to go about things. Corey could have backed out. Harry could have given more room. And that is how things go. But I've just been informed by Guided Survivor that Harry does have unrepairable side pod damage either side, and that is going to be hurting his That is going to be hurting his aerodynamic capabilities. That barge board, very, very crucial in terms of generating the upwards of, I believe, something like 3 ton worth of downforce that these Formula 1 cars produce, or something like that. I think it's 1 to 2 tons worth of aerodynamic downforce that they produce at peak Monaco setup and at 300 kilometers an hour. That is quite a lot of downforce when you think about it. Safety car should be in this lap for a 2-lap sprint to the end, which Baku is no stranger to. Vardy will lead on some very worn soft compound tyres, though Rick could be looking to claim his first sprint championship win of season number 4 in that Alfa Romeo when his teammate's down in P8. And the championship leader, Ghost, down in P6 as well. Hopefully the safety car is going to be coming in this lap. Get it confirmed by race control. Indeed we are. We're going green once more, and it is going to be a green car leading us off. The Aston Martin followed by the Alfa Romeo, the Alfa Tauri P3 with Aces P4. Sumo back onto the podium and could be looking to go for 5 out of 5 of the last 3 over the last 3 weeks. 1 in Spa, almost 1 in Kota, 1 again last time out, and got another podium. You can see Vardy weaving around left and right, needs to get this jump off the line. His last safety car restart was not the best he probably could have done. Harry also on those fresh softs should be able to cut through the field if he can. Not long left to do it. No DRS will be in effect, so it's going to be pure slipstream, and he has gone, and Rick has been completely caught out there. Sumo already going to the right hand side and up in towards P2. Aces as well having an incredible restart. Blair also looking to get himself onto the podium. Are they going to be 3 abreast now down in towards turn number 1? We go green, lap 12 of 13. Here is Aces trying to go all the way around the outside of not 1 but 2 cars. Blair on the inside, Rick sandwiched in the middle, now down to P5, could be under pressure from the championship leader, having to defend. Ghost going to go for the switcheroo. Blair up into P4, Aces P3 after an incredible double overtake, but he's under pressure, having to defend to the left from the Haas, brings it back to the right, and that is the Aston Martin of Ghost looking to the left inside of the Alfa Romeo in towards turn 3, but Rick very brave under brakes, goes all the way around the outside, the long way round. Palps now looking to get himself into the top 6 after his shambles of a quali. Harry very desperate, goes up the inside of his teammate to get himself into P9. An incredible restart from him. Rick also going around the outside of Blair in towards this tight and twisty chicane, not somewhere you often see it done. The House going sideways, and Ghost now looking invited to get himself into the top 5, indeed does, and Paus trying to funnel his way through. MX also going for a very aggressive send, as MX does, and he's been caught out there, so has Paus. Harry Bix up into P8, making very, very good opportunities off this restart, and has got a chance maybe at a decent top 5 as long as he doesn't make any more mistakes such as that one. Vardy leads 1.2 seconds ahead of Sumo, very comfortably leading. Aces also looking to put that pressure on. Those two have already come together and have been battling this season. Look back to Kota after an incredible last lap for the race win. This time it's a Baku, and this time it's for P2. 2 tenths separate them. Ace is very much tucked up in the slipstream through turn 18s, 19 and 20. He's using his ERS. He's going to use that slipstream. He's going to be in excess of 200 miles an hour. Aces gets ahead, and Vardy also going very slowly. He's gone sideways. Sumo inherits the race lead, so this now was turned into a fight for P1 between Aces and Sumo. Sumo going defensive all the way to the white line. Aces having to keep him squeezed. He goes to the long way round through turn 1. Is he going to be brave enough under brakes? We've seen it done before. He is. He takes the race lead of the Azerbaijan Grand Prix, but Sumo comes back at him. Is he going to have the run in towards turn 2? He's brave under brakes, not quite brave enough, and Vardy now down into P3 on the final lap of this race. He's going to have an insane slipstream, provided he can get the run and use that ERS to his advantage. Sumo closing at a rate of knots on Aces, but does he want to go for the move? He's looking, doesn't quite manage to send, and this race, once again, as always with the Sprint Championship, going to be decided on the final lap. MX going to around the outside of Ghost. That door shuts very quickly. Harry into the top 7. An incredible recovery drive in the last 2 laps, considering where he was, and is using this to his full effect. And Sumo, no, he's gone round in towards turn 7 from the race lead. A chance at the race victory for Sumo, and he's now dwindling down and off the podium on the final lap of this race, and he might have collected Vardy in that as well. Aces will lead, and hopefully for him cruise home to take the first win of round number 5. This is an absolutely bonkers race we're seeing now for round 5 and the Azerbaijan Grand Prix, and soon we will flip the grid on its head and go to Le Castellet, but we're not quite done in Spa in round number 1 in Baku. Through and towards turn 15, the Alfa Romeo jumping that inside curb and almost going his way into the barrier in towards turn 16. Rick all over the back of Vardy. It's going to be a straight up drag race to the line. It could be P2 for Rick, his best finish I believe in quite a while, at least in the Sprint Championship. Of course doing incredibly well in tier 2. He's going to use his DRS. No DRS. It's going to be pure engine power and slipstream, pulling it to the right-hand side. Vardy having to give him a squeeze. He's covering him off. And it's going to be Aces that wins, but it's going to be a straight-up drag fight between the Alfa Romeo. It's going to be very close. Aces wins, but Rick on the line. 32 thousandths of a second between the two, as they would have been side by side in towards turn 1. But Rick just managing to etch out the Aston Martin on the line. 32 thousandths of a second, a third of a blink of an eye between the two. Ghost comes home P4 after a very, very chaotic Azerbaijan Grand Prix indeed. And well, could not have asked for a better race, I don't think, to kick off the night. And the Williams, another win in the Sprint Championship. He has been the driver on form. And well, definitely deserved a win for sure. After 13 laps of racing, the Azerbaijan Grand Prix came down to the final lap. And it was Aces in the Williams. Another win, another top step for him. Rick joins him in P2 along with Vardy rounding off the podium. Rick, a career best in the Sprint Championship, I believe. We'll have to get that fact checked by Ghost. I'm sure he'll know better than I do. Ghost, speaking of which, finished P4 and extends his championship lead over MX, who could only come home in P5. Harry, an insane recovery drive, a very mature recovery drive, back up to P6 and only 2 laps from P11. He definitely can give himself a pat on the back. It could have been a race win, however, coming to blows with Koru did not help. AP from 15th on the grid to P7, definitely a good drive indeed, with Blair in P8. Tier P9 with KTFO P10 and the fastest lap of the race. He cannot complain. Sumo comes home P11. Absolute heartbreak. His first race out of after the last 4 being on the podium, and it could have been a race win or at least a podium today, and that is a shame to see. The rest, Gilbert, Koru, Max, Dava and Jakalako, all unable to reach the checkered flag, and Gilbert, while he's classified, did not reach the checkered flag, so we'll just call him a DNF. Back in the lobby. It shouldn't be too long until we get ourselves ready for Le Castellet. Absolutely incredible way to kick off the race. He's seen the footage. Taylor Hammers has seen the footage. It is Harry's fault. I'm sure Koru is not very happy. Can never seem to catch a break, Koru. Whether that be his own mistake. He always seems to come to blows at some point. Shouldn't be too long. It's just going to be Davila and Palfs both sorting out the grid for the reverse grid sprint race. I mean, they are both sprint races, but I will call one the sprint and the other the feature. Very, we can say it time and time again. It was a very, very chaotic way to start the night, I'm sure. And definitely some clips. The Sprint Championship never ceases to amaze, and that's why we always look forward to Sundays. Fridays are great, but Sundays just that little bit better. and maybe a little bit biased because I've been on the comms for the entirety of the Sprint Championship. I took over from another commentator for a couple of times on a Friday, and then full time for this new season on the 2021 game. Now I've become available, and I have to say, the Sprint Championship, as good as the Tier 1 Championship is, do not get me wrong, I do love the Tier 1 Championship, the Sprint, top tier stuff. Because as you've seen just then, and you look back to last week as well. Last week there was a lot of DNFs, but my oh my, was it still an absolute cracker of a race. And the amount of DNFs that happened in that previous race will mean that those who did actually finish relatively high will start relatively high. In terms of on the grid, because a lot of course, if you don't know, only those who finish get reversed. However, those that DNF will just stay as they are at the bottom of the grid. So if you DNF last, say Jackalacco, he will start last. So as you see, up until Gilbert, they are going to be the bottom 5. Then it'll be Sumo on pole, KTFO second, Tier third, RG Blair P3, House P4, Harry Blix in P6, P5, sorry. In P6, he is P6, yeah, that's just me messing up. P7 for MX, P8 for Ghost, P9, P10 and P11. And then everyone else funneling in behind them to hopefully make for an absolutely another cracker of a race. The reverse grid. And yeah, it was a fight for P1. It was a very good fight indeed for P1. A lot of passionate fans at home really love to see the P1 fights. And 8 people in. Make sure to be liking the stream. Certainly nice to have you all in. I think the record is 15. I think we've had 15 live, and I think that was for either a season finale or a season opener. Might have been a season opener. That always gets a lot of hype. Always gets loads of people in. But we are getting readied up and looking to get going for the reverse grid race. It's going to be, fingers crossed, one to look forward to. As I say, the reverse grid one is always usually the better one of the two. And the first one did set the standard high, so if we keep with that theme, this one's going to be just that little bit better. Again, a short run towards turn number 1 here at France. A little bit longer than it is at Baku, but you're not on the brakes for very long for turn 1, so that start is very crucial indeed. 3 seconds, 2 seconds, 1 second. We're now loading in. No formation lap, of course, with the unreliability that is the formation lap. We do not want to chance it and do not want to have any hold-ups, so it's better to just go straight in to the action. They're going to have 30 seconds to get themselves warmed up, get the blood flowing, take a little bit of a drink, whatever it might be, hyped up for the race ahead. I believe 14 laps of the Paul Ricard circuit is in store for us. It's a decent circuit in principle. On the sim you can definitely have some good racing, especially if you look to some GT3 racing. GT3s around Paul Ricard are not bad at all. MX though has left the session, which is not going to be helping his fight for the championship by any stretch of the imagination. And yeah, very strange indeed. Max also has reported being kicked from the game and the lobby crash. So when we were talking about the unreliability of the formation lap, it seems to have happened once again. We are loading in though. Whether we're going to go for a restart for 2 drivers is a I'm not sure what we'll do. It'll be up to the discretion of the admins. 14 drivers are still in, and unless they can get themselves back in, and I think we should be able to carry on going. Not entirely sure what's going to go on. We will keep you updated. I think we are just going to carry on with as normal. ...25 seconds, 24, so last chance, get yourself a drink. and buckle up for what is going to be the French Grand Prix, one we don't often look forward to in real life, but 2021, as always, delivers with an absolute smasher of a race. I mean, look, we even have a good race at Sochi. It was a heartbreaking race, but it was still a very good race indeed. So even at the most boring of circuits, I have no doubt that the APPF1 guys can deliver. MX has managed to get himself back in the lobby as we go to 5 red lights. It's an AlphaTauri of Sumo on pole, the Mercedes alongside. And we're underway for the reverse grid sprint race. It's a great start from pole position for Sumo, who might be under pressure from KTFO, and indeed he is. To the right-hand side goes the Mercedes. Going to be inside for turn 2. If he can go all the way around the outside, he does. He's now going to stick it up the inside. He does take the lead. The Mercedes into the lead of the race. The AlphaTauri of Sumo, they're going to come back at him. He's using his slipstream. He's using his ERS, pulling to the right-hand side and towards turn 3. Not on the brakes for very long. 3 abreast. There's Blair going up the inside of Harry Biggs, who does not have any of it. Pushes him all the way to the outside. The two Hasses come into blows. Harry Biggs into P3 and now chasing after Sumo, who is now sandwiched between the two Mercedes. That is Ghost going side by side with Powers. They all try and find their way through 2 by 2. Noah's Ark through turn 7. Ghost sending up the inside of the Alpine, who's now running side by side with Rick. Very, very close to contact. Sumo has left the session, which is a very, very big shame indeed. 13 laps of France, and look at how many cars are now trying to funnel their way through the tight chicanes of turn 8 and 9. Ghost having to funnel in for P8. KTFO leads from Harry Biggs, and Sumo has really being caught out by this one. Started on pole, did not get a good start by any means, and is now tumbling his way down the order, down towards P7, P8 even, when they go under the brakes for turn 11. And that is a big shame indeed. Paus, though, looking to get himself in towards the top 4. An incredible start for him, managing to maintain position. Also Rick sending it up the inside. There might be a bit of contact. Paus gives him the room. An incredible move from Rick then, if he manages to keep that. Blair all over the place in terms of the lag. Jackalacco up 6. He's swapping places with Aces. They're going to run side by side in towards the penultimate corner. Jackalacco having to go for the switcheroo in towards the left hand side, the outside for the final corner, and the Alpine of Davila trying to go up the inside of Koru, who's going to be on an absolute mission now, trying to make amends and make up for Baku. Rick trying to get past Blair to the inside of turn 1, does under the brakes. Very low on fuel though. The Haas comes back at him through turn 2, goes in deep, too deep, and both of them, Rick and Paus, getting past Blair. Blair looking to the left hand side of Paus though. He's going to try and go the long way around. It's the inside for the preceding turn 4. Bit of contact made. Paus probably cannot see him in towards turn number 5. Paus stays ahead, and the Haas having to tuck in and behind Ghost as well, sending it up the inside because the Haas is way off track. Vardy as well looking to get up the inside. The Haas going to run side by side. You really cannot see where he is, which is a very, very weird anomaly, and probably explained by the fact he is in a different continent and are about 12,500 miles to the left of us. The KTFO leads a Mercedes 1-2 tier P3 with Rick P4 and Paus rounding off the top 5. Koru trying to get himself in towards the top 9. He's on the back of the AlphaTauri, looking to the right hand side. Very good run off the chicane and gets himself ahead, maybe even before the corner. It's a flat out right hander, so being on the inside definitely works for you. And that's Aces also looking to go for a gap on the inside. His teammate opened the door and Aces came in. He's now running side by side through the long double apex right hander, gets himself ahead, and the AlphaTauri forced wide. An incredibly opportunistic move from the Williams to get him into the top 10, and Koru and Aces both working together absolutely brilliantly in order to fight their way towards the front of the field. Koru, the man with the pace, as Blair peels his way maybe into the pit lane. Indeed, no, he's just going off and going for an adventure. No, he is into the pit lane. KTFO sets the fastest lap, a 32.450. As they now come on to lap number 2. RG Blair has retired from the session, probably due to his connection. Sumo back into the race, but he's 14 seconds down in his race, probably more than certainly ruined, unless there is a safety car, which there probably definitely could be. We've lost our first driver then onto lap 2. And nothing much happening. The grid very much spaced out though. The fight for the podium very much on. The Alfa Romeo of Rick on the back of the Haas of Tyr. At least one of the Haas's is going well. Tyr, a new man into this season. No DRS of course. In fact there is DRS. We are on to lap 3 and he's closing at a rate of knots in towards the Haas, in towards turns 8 and 9. He's looking to the left hand side. How brave is he under brake? Quite brave indeed, but the Haas does not flinch and swoops all the way around the outside though. He's on a compromised line and Rick could have a look. He's using all of his ERS and Paus wants to get in on the fight. We're now fully green. In fact, we have got another spin. Is that Blair's car? I believe it is, just pulling over on the racetrack, and that is the Alfa Romeo of Rick looking to send up the inside, keeps the foot in, finds the gap, fills it. And Tyr does not have much to say about that one. Rick on the softer compound tyre. Tier on the mediums, so Rick definitely going to have the advantage when it comes to that one. Sends it up the inside, has the confidence to go for the move, and does complete the move in towards the top 3, and Rick can now set his sights on Harry in front. As we've got no new pitters, Paus going to the inside very cleanly as Tier goes very wide, puts him on a compromised line, and Paus gets the drive off the corner up and towards the top 4, and now on this soft compound tyre can he chase after Harry in front as Rick sets the fast lap by 32.2, quickest man on track as it stands. Quicker even than the 2 Aston Martins of Ghost and Vardy, both of which have started on the medium tyre, looking to go long and have the softs towards the end and be the quicker car, pretty much in qualifying spec with that lower fuel. DRS will be in effect for Rick, who looks to get himself into the top 2 for the second race running. Goes a little bit wide off the exit of turn 6, shouldn't matter too much. He's very low in terms of his energy recovery system. That battery store looking incredibly low and dwindling very quickly, now less than 10%. That's going to make his life very difficult when it comes to overtaking this Mercedes in towards turn 8. Sends it under brakes though, that definitely helps him in recharging. Bit of a tap to the rear end as Harry goes sideways, manages to hold it, so too can Rick, as he's now in the slipstream and looking to chase after. Harry does go defensive, but it's all in vain and really not needed as they go through turn 12. Tier with a 3-second time penalty, multiple warnings, and that is the case at France. The runoff does invite you to cut slightly, and very easy to do so. So penalties galore should be the case and should be expected around France. Rick is on the softer compound tyre compared to Harry, who's on the mediums, and that's going to be harder for him to both warm up his tyres and also the softer rubber of Rick helping him to have the better on-track pace, the better on-track consistency as well, though he will have to pit slightly earlier. DRS open as he's in the slipstream and is closing at a rate of knots. He just goes into 8th gear though, does not want to catch too quickly as to lose the DRS down the main straight. You can see Harry goes defensive, but Rick does not commit to the outside, just going to wait, bide his time. Harry under an absolute world of pressure should have won in Baku and could have won arguably in Baku. However, coming to blows with Koru stopped him doing so, and starts his bid to the front in second place, or started his bid to the front in around about 4th place, I believe, or 3rd. Indeed it was actually 6th place. He started his bid to the front and just got an incredible start, flew to the front, and is now under pressure from the Alfa Romeo, who dummies to the inside, finds the space, under brakes, very nicely done, but the Mercedes swoops all the way around the outside. Rick caught on the curb, 3-second time penalty for multiple warnings added on to his race time at the end. Because the Mercedes put him in that position. Rick's not going to be too happy about that one, and this battling has invited Paus to get into this DRS train. 30% ERS, and that is the most of the 3. He should be able to blitz past the pair of them, especially considering the fact he's on the softs compared to Harry on the mediums. That's Ghost getting himself side by side with Tier in towards turn 12. Tier going to fight it all the way around the outside, not quite enough though in order to stop the absolute tyrant that is the championship leader. And if Ghost wants to get through, my oh my, will he get through up into the top 5. 2 seconds back now, and on the medium tyre his pace is unrelentless and almost unmatchable, and when he gets onto those softs, going to be a force to be reckoned with as we come on to lap number 7. Already onto lap number 7, or no, lap number 6, as KTFO has already crossed the line, very comfortably leading the way, 5 seconds in front. This is Rick looking to the left hand side in towards turn 1. The Mercedes does flinch, and that could set up Rick to go for a bit of a switcheroo. He's going to have the run in towards turn 3. Does he want to go for it? Harry's going to squeeze him all the way down, but the Alfa Romeo fills the space, does not back out, up the inside through turn 3, gets turned across. The Alfa Romeo manages to save it, goes for a bit of a squirm, and a lot of contact between the two. Harry really getting his elbows out, and Paus with the front row seat to all of it, just trying to find a way through turn 6. The long and snailing right-hander. They go through turn 7, the quick flick to the left, and just look at how many cars are all in DRS of each other. Rick now under pressure from Paus, who's going to be looking to go for the move, finds the space on the inside. It's not heavily contested from the Alfa Romeo as they go around towards the chicane that separates them on the Mulsanne straight. Ahead goes the Alpine and in to the podium places. And Rick now having to take a step backwards. That is the problem with being second place in a train, is that you're having to look forwards and also backwards. And that allows Paus to find a way through, and is now going to be looking to get himself one better and split the Mercedes. 2 tenths separate them. You can just see bumper to bumper to bumper, or I should say front wing to diffuser to front wing. That would probably be a more accurate description, though it doesn't flow quite as well. AP Paus with a 3-second time penalty for multiple warnings. Again, that's going to be added on to his race time come the checkered flag, and that could hinder him all the way through this race and be a burden looming over him. Vardy looking to get past Tyr. He's also lining up. Tyr definitely going backwards as Ghost, the first man into the pit lane off the medium tyres, and he's going on to the softs, so wants to be quick for a very large duration of this race. Brick falling back a little bit, 1.6 seconds off the front two, and that's because of his ERS shortage not allowing him to close up too much. Grandad Bonkers washing up at the same time. You know, what better thing to be watching than while you're washing up? Should commentate you doing the washing up, Grandad Bonkers. Would be an absolutely spectacle to watch, I'm sure. Not quite as good a spectacle as we're getting right now with the French Grand Prix. DRS Open for the Alpine on their home circuit, home turf for them, and at the moment at least one of their cars is doing incredibly well up in the podium places. Vardy in the British outlet, the Aston Martin, manages to get through, and Aces also wants to slice of the cake. He's going to go up the inside in towards the chicane, looks, but the Haas goes all the way around the outside. A bit later under brakes, he manages to hold his nerve and stay in front for the time being. Like that penalty will be a burden looming over him, and Aces with a good enough run in towards the fast right-hander, the flat-out right-hander, even offline. The Haas goes all the way around the outside, now looking to find a way through on the inside. Is there going to be space? No, there's not. Aces follows Vardy through, and again, they're working together and using each other for a way through the field. Koru has already come in. He came on the same lap as did Ghost. Davler as well off the mediums and on to the softs. There's the race leader, KTFO, coming in. Is Harry also going to come in? No, he can't. It's going to be a double stack, so AP manages to pull the plug and can go for an undercut. Some fresh tyres and could overtake them on a strategy battle. So Harry inherits the race lead. The other Mercedes onto a set of medium tyres. Split strategies at Mercedes then. One of them is going to be on the quicker tyre for the rest of this race. Jackalacco comes in as well. The AlphaTauris going for these soft compound tyres. It seems though it's pretty 50-50 in terms of softs and mediums, so it could be very close indeed. This is Vardy pretty much sniffing Palps' diffuser as they come off the pit lane. He's incredibly close, maybe got held in the pit lane. Vardy though on the softs compared to Palps on the mediums. He's going to be slightly quicker for the remainder of this race, and does have a decent portion more ERS to use compared to the Alpine, and will have the benefit of the DRS, the drag reduction system, an extra 15 kph down that back Mulsanne straight, not to be confused with the Circuit de la Sarthe Mulsanne straight, both French, but one definitely more noble than the other. Through turn 7, the Aston Martin, 3/10 is the gap. He's using his ERS, the energy recovery system, that extra 160 brake horsepower, closing 202 miles an hour as he pulls out of the slipstream and is ahead before the corner, not contested at all by Palps, and he makes it an Aston Martin 4-5 headed by Ghost, who's on an absolute charge towards KTFO, who comfortably leads the way, 6.7 seconds. However, Harry Bix and Aces both yet to pit. Koru coming at the Alpine as well in towards the fast right-hander. The Mercedes-powered Williams goes for the move. Palps going to try it all the way around the outside. Though his medium tyres really going to be stopping his advance in doing so. They're going to be harder to warm up. They're going to have less grip overall. Aces and Harry both into the pit lane. Where's he going to come out in relation to his teammate? He's had those last couple of laps on fresh, soft tyres, and has managed to be a little bit quicker than his teammate over the course of those laps. Will he manage to get the undercut? Will Corey put himself in a great position in this race? It will be P5 if he can get ahead of the pair of them, which looks likely. In fact, the Mercedes of Harry comes out in P3. He's been undercut by Ghost by about 0.6 of a second. Ghost has managed to come out ahead of him by, and 6 seconds behind Ghost. 6 seconds behind KTFO is Ghost, very comfortably leading the way and looking to go for a win for round number 5. It is the reverse grid race, but he did lead for a little bit, I believe, at Baku. In fact, no, he was leading in qualifying, but unfortunately the race didn't go his way, and now is looking to make amends for that here in France. Harry Bix on the back of Ghost. His tyres are going to be much more fresh. Look at how fast he's closing, pulling to the left hand side. Is he brave enough under brakes? Yes, he is. Ghost tries to go around the outside, but he's squeezed out by the Mercedes, and a very, very nice move indeed from Harry Bix. Not too contested from Ghost, who looked around the outside but wasn't going to bet his championship on it, which is what he's betting right now, because his comfortable lead can definitely come crumbling down if he's not careful. So he's got the championship to keep in mind. He's only got around about 2.5 races left to go of this championship. 2 races if you exclude this one, the final round in a week's time. going to be something to watch. He's going to try and seal the deal. This is Jakalako putting that pressure on Paus. These soft tyres are so much better. He goes all the way around the outside of the Alpine, which is going very much backwards on those medium tyres. The softs versus the mediums. Definitely the alternate strategy, proven to be the better one so far. Those mediums will come into their own on around about lap 12, but he's probably lost too much time to gain it back. By that time it comes around. Koru into the top 5 from the back of the grid. He's driven a superb race so far. Hopefully no mistakes can hinder him. AP maybe going to be looking to come back at Jakalako, but he doesn't seem to have the grip or confidence through turns 1 and 2 in order to do it. 6 tenths separate Ghost and Harry. He might want to come back at him though. Harry has a little bit more in the way of ERS to use. Harry has come into this community, elbows out, not scared at all. He's the new kid on the block, but he definitely does not act like it. He's come in like a seasoned veteran and is extremely quick, already taking it to the likes of Ghost and Paus and Vardy and Koru, who have definitely proven themselves enough in APPF1. Through turn 8 and 9, this is Koru getting past Vardy, or at least having a little look against Vardy. Vardy manages to defend. That Aston Martin stays on for P4, but Koru with that penalty, again, going to be added on to his race time at the end of it. So he needs to get through and get going. Aces a little bit behind on fresh soft compound tyres. Koru managed to get ahead, but Aces is going to be slightly quicker, and Vardy backing him up into his teammates here, also looking to have a go at Paus, who is just going backwards. The softs are just so much quicker, and Paus couldn't make enough of it, couldn't take advantage of the softs enough off the 5 red lights, and for the first stint for them to work. Unlike, however, KTFO, who leads the way very comfortably, 4.4 seconds ahead of Harry Bix's teammate in P2. Because he was able to stretch those softs, he was pretty much uncontested for the entirety of the first stint. Here comes Steer, Paus having to go to the left hand side to try and defend. It's all going to be in vain though, because the Haas goes to the long way round, commits, and is ahead before the corner. Aces versus Kings, a 31.583 takes the extra lap for fastest lap. Takes the extra point for fastest lap, and is also going to be taking a nice 14 points, plus that extra one is going to be 15 points to his name. He's going to be taking home quite a lot for both himself and Williams. Definitely the man on form is Aces in the DRS, in the slipstream. He's going to look to get past his teammate. He's closing. His teammate also has DRS. It's going to make his life a little bit more tricky, in excess of 200 miles an hour as they go towards the chicane. He has a little look, looking for his braking point, not quite close enough though, and it's probably going to work with him just to make sure they can get past Vardy. In fact, Koru just lets him go. Says, you're quicker, let's do this. We can fight them together, and that is good sportsmanship shown from Koru. Just to work with his teammate. He's got a penalty, there's no need to be holding him up, and for the team game, that is very mature from Koru indeed. Ace is definitely the quicker of the two as it stands, and has a chance at the podium with 2 laps left of this race. KTFO has been pretty much uncontested for the entirety of it, and has picked himself up a 3-second time penalty, in fact. So 2 laps, Harry has to gain 1 second on his teammate, make that now 9 tenths unless he picks one up himself. This has now made this very interesting. KTFO has been under pressure, or has been without pressure for the entirety of this race, and has now found himself under an absolute buttload if he wants to secure his first victory. Davila getting past his teammate on the softs, and that is just a blow. He's been ahead of his teammate for the entire race, and now with 2 laps left to go, AP finds himself down in P10 after fighting for P2 before the pit stop phase. And you can see how much those on the mediums are struggling. MX going to be losing even more ground to Ghost in the championship. Vardy under pressure from Aces. This little 3-car train for P3. The 2 Mercedes are absolutely long gone. It's a fight between themselves, and it's a fight for P3 at this rate. Aces in the slipstream, not using his ERS, doesn't have enough in the battery in order to mount an attack. Vardy though wants that P3, though they are teammates and they are great teammates. They will not hesitate from going side by side and having a bit of a skirmish on the track, and they have done it before and given us some great spectacles. Look back to Interlagos for season 1 of the Sprint Championship. That was an incredible race between the two. I think that's one of the best battles we've seen in a long while. Seems like a while ago, and wasn't that long. We've come a long way since then. The Sprint Championship has grown into one of the biggest and most looked forward to things in the community. Aces though mounting a challenge on the 2 Astons. Looks to the inside. That was a bold send. Had a little look. Fair play. Not quite enough though in order to claim the corner. Bit of a half send But if it worked, it definitely would have worked, and it'd look like an absolute hero. And it just shows, feels Vardy's mirrors, says, you know, hey, I am here. You better be careful what you do with your teammate, because if you make contact, I am going to pick up the pieces. And just making him think twice, making him look left, look right in his mirrors before he goes for any move, and letting him know that Aces is there. Looking to the right hand side, he's going to send it, keep it to the right, just get it up the inside, get it stopped. He needs to keep it though, but Vardy with that momentum goes all the way around the outside on the final lap of this race. Vardy making that 2 metre wide Aston Martin doubly as wide, and still with DRS, because Ghost is giving it to him. Aces is giving his absolute everything in order to close that gap, but it's not enough. KTFO and Harry separate by 3.5 on the final lap. It could be KTFO's race still to win through the chicane for the final time. Aces needs an absolute insane run off this corner if he wants to get himself ahead and have a chance of that podium. He's not got long left to do it. 5.10 separates 5th, 4th and 3rd in towards the flat out right hander. We've seen the Williams do it before. They're not going to do it this time around. Vardy having to go defensive in towards the long double apex right. It's going to be the Williams that's going to look for the space, sends it up the inside, bit of contact between the two, but Ace is getting his elbows out. Vardy goes all the way around the outside, very much getting defensive and hanging on to that P4, because he knows that he wants that P4, and he knows that he could have mounted that challenge onto his teammate. MX or Rick has gone round, I believe it is Rick, going round through turn 12. Across the line though comes KTFO. He will claim his first victory for Mercedes in the round number 5, the season 4 championship of APPF1, and he claims his first win. In fact, no, he doesn't, because he claims another penalty, which brought his total up to 6. So Harry, on his debut, takes the reverse grid sprint race victory, and that is well deserved after and getting redemption for Baku. Didn't even realise he got another 3-second time penalty. He won on track, and it was a Mercedes 1-2, so still a success. His first podium in APPF1. Ghost comes home P3, Vardy P4, Aces P5, Corey P6, RFF. Harry reminds me of Max. Same here. He is an incredible driver and has just beaten a Mercedes, so he reminds me of Max in more ways than one. Jakalako takes driver of the day. And after 13 laps of racing, 26 laps of racing total for round number 5, the French Grand Prix has just concluded, and it was a Mercedes 1-2. Getting bored of this Mercedes domination, guys. We needed to change up for the next round. In fact, 2x2 for the entirety of the top 6. It was Harry that leads a Mercedes 1-2, followed by KTFO in P2, and Ghost rounds off the top 3, with Vardy making an Aston Martin 3-4, Aces and Corey 5 and 6, making a Williams 5 and 6, with Jakalako P7, then an Alpine 8 and 9, with Tyr rounding off the top 10 for Haas. MX and Rick and Alfa Romeo 11-12, with the other Alfa Tauri of Sumo in P13. Gilbert 14th, with Blair the sole driver unable to finish this race. A lot of teammates finishing then together on the circuit. But that was a good race indeed. So too was Baku. Very chaotic races, it must be said. But KTFO definitely deserved to win that one. So too did Harry after Baku. And both very impressive debuts from the pair of them. But that rounds off the action for today. Ladies and gentlemen, if you have enjoyed, do make sure to like the stream. And the support always goes a long way. Do make sure to also go and follow on the TikTok if that's something you are interested in. Zach Sweeney commentary, and trying to push for 1,500 followers if we can. Fingers crossed, hopefully we can, and today has definitely given us some good clips to go onto there. But nonetheless, my name has been Zach Sweeney. This has been the APPF1 Sprint Championship. Join me in a week's time for the season finale for season number 4. It looks to be Ghost favourite to win his first double title, the first double title in APPF1 history. Until then, guys, enjoy your evening, and I'll see you in a little while. Bye bye.